garbage class.
I can feel the love. Okay, so chapter 13, inflation. Remember.
Did you do this to the other class? Okay.
Wow.
Remember we're discussing the problem. Do this to them. What, teach them? Is that something I'm doing to you?
Did you teach
We
the other
didn't
class
ask
as
for
well?
this.
Inflicted upon them.
We just took a
Did you make
test.
them go through this?
Okay, remember I am another cog in the murder machine.
Yeah, pretty much.
Chemical romance, anybody? No chemical romance?
Yeah, My Chemical Romance is garbage. It's like the
I have
econ.
another brick in the wall. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's a better-
remember the business cycle. Troughs carry unemployment, but what do peaks bring about?
Inflation.
Inflation. So we're going to talk about inflation. We're going to talk about what it is. Then we're going to look at what causes it. Okay, so starting in section 1, jumping right into it. What is inflation? Definition. Page 203, but you also have in your notes. The term economists use to describe a sustained rise in the average price level. Now, as usual, there's a lot of extra words thrown in here, but we'll see why they're there. We say average price level because not all goods rise in price, and some might actually go down during inflation. And those that do don't all go up by the same amount. So we look for the average amount that goods and services go up in price. Now, to delve into this just a little bit more, we're going to do a thought experiment to see how inflation works. Remember, money has no intrinsic worth. What determines the value of money? How much stuff you can get with it, right? So really, inflation concerns the value of money concerns changes in the money supply compared to the change amount of stuff there is. And so to drive that home, I'm going to do the thought experiment that I've done with you probably about 5 or 6 times now. If you have had me inflicted on you for 2 years. Okay, so remember, if we have in one column,
again.
yes, this again. Reality, stuff, right? But we'll make it simple, say there's just one item we're making, bushels of wheat. Then you've got the money supply, right? Is money wealth? No, stuff is wealth.
Yeah.
So if we start out, we've got 10 bushels, and the money supply is $10, okay? Then, what is the price of 1 bushel? $1, okay? So you're gonna have $10 chasing around 10 bushels. What is the purchasing power of $1?
1 bushel.
1 bushel. You with me? Now, let's say I'm a benevolent dictator who loves my people and wants them happy, but I didn't pay attention in econ class. So I confuse money with wealth. I think I'll make my people wealthy by printing money. So I turn on the printing presses, because that's easy, right? So now, got $100. Now, did I do anything to grow wealth? Did I do anything to encourage more production? And by the way, that's what both political parties say they're about. They both say, we want more wealth produced. We want to increase productivity. Both say that. They acknowledge that reality. But did I, when I just printed up money, did I do anything to increase productivity? To encourage investment? To make people more? None of that, right? So, how many bushels do we still have?
10.
We still have 10. Now, what is the price of 1 bushel? $10. What's the purchasing power of $1? 10 of the bushel. See what's going on here? Y'all with me? Okay. Now we'll talk about who gets hurt by inflation. And I'm going to talk about particular groups that get hurt sooner than others. But before I say that, let me just say, in general, everybody suffers in inflation. Most importantly, because remember how I keep emphasizing, economics is not self-contained. You cannot distinguish between economics and freedom. Because what is the foundation of freedom?
Liberty.
What? Property. Right. So let's think this through. Inflation not only destroys your economy, it destroys freedom. Why? Here are the steps. And if you got your short answer list out, I hit the highlights of it for you. So, step 1, what's the foundation of liberty? We just said property. Now, What is money? Portable property. Let's think about that. If you got a house and you want to move, what do? You sell it. What do you get? Money. How do you get a new house? You use that money. So money is portable property. You see its connection with liberty, right? So, what did we already learn, however, that inflation does to money?
Makes it.
Inflation destroys the value of money. See my step-by-step procedure to show how inflation destroys liberty. And by the way, the Marxists will acknowledge this. They will say, we're gonna kill capitalism by just printing property out of, printing money into oblivion. With printing presses, we will win the revolution. Okay, so you should be scared of inflation. If you've got all this property, you are independent of the government, right? The government, if it destroys the value of your property, now what's your relationship with the government? You are now dependent on the government to provide for you. Therefore, you are not free. Okay, so, but let's talk about economically who gets hurt the most. First, we're going to talk about people living on fixed incomes. You see where I am in the notes? Like the elderly. What do I mean by fixed income? You get the same amount each month. Why? Because usually, unless if you're not Mr. Rhodes, elderly people, not that I'm elderly yet, but when I get elderly, I don't plan on doing this, retire, right? Normal people, when they get old, they retire. So, why are retired people on fixed incomes? Because if you have a job and you don't get paid more each year, you know, if you don't get a pay raise, it's actually a pay cut. You know that, right? Why? Inflation. The prices go up and your money doesn't get what it used to. So if you don't get a pay raise, you're actually getting a pay cut. Because you at least got to keep up with inflation. So, if you have a job and your pay doesn't go up, what can you threaten to do? Quit, but you can't quit retirement. Right? So you're kind of stuck with whatever Social Security, for example, is going to give you. So you're on a fixed income. Does that make sense? So, let's say a retiree gets $900 a month. And they used to be able to buy a month's worth of food without half that check. But now, the price of groceries have gone up, so they end up spending their whole check on groceries. Now they've got nothing left to pay for rent or especially medicine. So what have many employers started doing to avoid having future retirees having their checks eaten away like this? They take future inflation into consideration in their pension plans through COLAs. What's a COLA? Cost of living adjustment. By the way, same thing if you work for an institution that's around the world and might move you to different places, they will also have COLAs. Like if you're in the Army and you get stationed in an expensive place, you'll get a cost of living adjustment. That's why so many posts in the Army are in the South, because it's cheaper. Okay? That's why you go join the Air Force where you live a nice cushy life and get stationed in nice expensive places where there's lots of things to do. The Army will send you in the middle of Georgia or something like that, like where there's nothing around you, or out in the middle of the desert. We love it because it's the Army. Okay, so what are the other groups that are hurt by inflation? Creditors. What is a creditor? They give credit, so they give loans. A creditor, right? Now, what you have in your notes, how they're hurt, I'm going to scratch that out because I think I have something better now. Here's how I think here's what I think a good description of how creditors are hurt by inflation. Pens poised. The money they get back. So they loaned out the money. When they get money back, okay, the money they get back won't have the purchasing power it did when they loaned it out. The money they get back won't have the purchasing power it did when they loaned it out. Does that make sense? So, look up here. Let's say you loan out money here when it's strong. It'll get a whole bushel. Then they pay you back after inflation, and you only get a tenth of a bushel. You with me? See how creditors get hurt? By the way, why are we okay with that? Because most of us aren't creditors, and we hate creditors. Because we owe them money and they're rich. The two people we hate the most in one, right? Bankers. Kill the bankers. Okay? That's what lots of people love to do. But what happens to a country that kills the bankers? Okay? What happened to Spain after they kicked out all the Jews? What happened to their economy? Okay? What is the root of economic growth? Capital getting invested. If you destroy them, you're not getting more investments. Okay. Remember, money doesn't have inherent worth. Your money is only as valuable as things you can purchase with it. So if you loan me 80,000 bucks to buy a Lexus, but we're living in Bolivia in the 1980s where they had 25,000% inflation. 25,000% inflation. Okay? So when I pay you back, okay. Well, we got some stuff covered.
I'm so glad that's over. That was such a terrible experience.
Thank you, Danny. Can you feel the love? Like and subscribe.